Good day and welcome to solving ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 by factoring. This is from the joke worksheet, which was your homework. So I picked one of the things that you had to factor. It says factor the following trinomials, connect the two joke factors of each trinomial together to figure out the joke. So I just chose one of the trinomials they're asking you to factor, so we can take a look at how do we factor something where we have a number in front of x squared that's not 1. So I chose 6x squared minus 25x plus 4. So just like back when we were doing something with x squared plus bx plus c, where our a was 1, we can factor it the same way where we have two binomials. So let's go ahead and write out those two binomials. So we should have two binomials. And in the front of each binomial, we have to think about what we're undoing FOIL, right? So in the front of each binomial, there should be some factors of 6x squared. So, and in the back of each binomial, there need to be things that multiply to get us a positive 4. And so then we have to use kind of a guess and check method, as well as using our logic about and what we know about mathematics to get something that when we do FOIL in the middle, we're going to get a negative 25x. So let's go ahead and start with the factors of 6x squared. The first factors of 6 I can think of are 6 and 1. So if I were to write those out, I would have 6x and 1x, because 6x times 1x is 6x squared. Looking at the back, I need something to multiply a positive 4, but I also need to keep this in mind. It needs to be a negative in the middle. So that means my factors of 4 need to be negative. So I'm going to start with negative 2 and negative 2. And then I think about FOIL, outside plus inside, and that would give me my b value. So let's go ahead and add these together. If I have negative 2 times 1x, that's negative 2x. And I'm going to do my outsides now. Okay, 6x times negative 2, that's negative 12x. And if I add these together, they should give me a negative 25. Well, negative 12 plus negative 2 is not negative 25x. So I need to change and look at different factors. Go ahead. And that's why we use pencil in mathematics, so we can erase things easily. I'm going to erase the factors of 4 and try different factors of 4 first before I try different factors of 6. I don't want to change both of them at the same time, because otherwise I might have to end up changing, like I might not realize the combination still goes with 6 and 1 if I change 6 and 1 and I change the factors of 4. So I want to change one at a time. And then besides negative 2 and negative 2 to get a positive 4, I would think a negative 1 and a negative 4. But I want to keep in mind that I need to get a negative 25x here. So that's a pretty big number. I want my bigger numbers to multiply together. So I'm going to put the negative 4 back here so that it multiplies times the positive 6. And then I'm going to put the negative 1 right here. So let's see. When I multiply 6 times negative 4, I get negative 24x. And when I multiply negative 1 times 1x, I get negative 1x. If I add these together, then I get a negative 25x. And that's exactly what I want. So now I found my two factors, 6x minus 1 and 1x minus 4. So on the sheet, what you'll do is you'll look for this first trinomial, or this first, one of the two, but I'm pretty sure it's this first one that has the number, and then this one would have the letter. And then you can go ahead and figure out your joke. Okay, on the back side of the joke sheet, there's some extra practice, and I'm going to talk about number 2. So number 2 is 3x squared minus 3 equals 0. It has that x squared with the number in front of it, but we're missing a b value. There's no b value. And so it's hard for us to think about factors of 3 and factors of 3 that outside plus inside equals 0, and that could work. But an easier thing would be, let's first check, can we factor something out? Is there a greatest common factor? So between 3 and 3, the greatest common factor is 3. So if I factor that 3 out, then I can get x squared minus 1. And then now this, to me, looks like a lot easier to factor because I recognize right away that x squared minus 1 is a difference of squares. And I know how to factor that easily. So a difference of squares takes the square root of the front and the square root of the back and then the square root of the back without the negative, so that 1, so square root of 1 is 1. And then you add 1 and you subtract 1. So now my factors become 3, x plus 1, and x minus 1. So now I've completely factored this one without using the other method, but by finding a GCF and then using what I know about difference of squares. If you have any additional questions, please see me or Mr. Daniels, and enjoy factoring.